Welcome back, everybody, to another bite-sized Thursday.
A subsidiary of Slate Media. Joke never gets old.
It won't die. We're continuing our mystery-solving days with the contemporary Sherlock series from the BBC. We're starting Series 3 now for you Americans. Most of our audience, probably. We mean Season 3. But it's called a series. Pinky's out. Anyway, so there's an interesting thing. Series 3 is kind of where I jumped off, but there's an interesting thing I learned about that I did not know when it was airing. There is a mini web episode called Many Happy Returns. And then it's quickly followed by The Empty Hearse, which is the episode we're watching. To give it some space, though, we are going to watch Many Happy Returns, come back and give you some of our quick thoughts on it. For those of you that don't know, Many Happy Returns is supposed to kind of fill in the gaps of the end of Series 2 and the beginning of Series 3, which is about 2 years, did I read?
Yeah.
Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm hoping to get something out of it because, again, The Empty Hearse is where I kind of jumped off with the Sherlock series because I didn't understand it. I didn't think it was good. Now, I also thought it was, well, I'll get into that when we talk about it as we intro. Other than that, are you ready to watch it?
Yes. So we're gonna watch the webisode first, as you said. So
yes,
and it's only about 7 minutes. So and it came out the same day as The Empty Hearse.
Did it?
That's what it says. So
okay, interesting
thing, but. Yeah, let's see. Let's do it.
All right, let's
take a bite.
Welcome back, everybody. We just watched the Sherlock webisode, Many Happy Returns. For me, be honest with you, I'm going to come back to this a lot in this episode. I think all of this is undermined by the fact that we know that he's not dead.
Yeah.
That scene in the last episode, in the finale of Series 2, where we find out he's alive and he's watching John in his grave, I just can't get over the fact that it lessens and undercuts the emotional impact of what's going on because we know for a fact that he's alive. Now, you're not going to have a Sherlock show without having Sherlock. So obviously we know, but there's a difference between conjecture and implication versus being told.
My guess is their thing was, instead of making them wonder if he's alive, for 2 years, we'll let them wonder for 2 years on how he's alive. So it makes sense why they chose to do that outside of the not giving audience enough credit aspect of it, which is weird because it's a very, I'll say, smart in quote show, more of like they give us a lot of leeway on, because there are times I can't follow everything they're doing, but it's,
sometimes I don't think they can follow everything they're doing.
Yeah, I feel like they would have given the audience a little more credit, but again, they planned this out. That's how they did it, because it's like, well, we have to have people come back because some people won't come back if they think he's dead, because there are lowest common denominators out there.
I suppose, but do you think the lowest common denominator is watching this show?
You'd be surprised with the LCDs, as they call them. Watch. Because a lot of times they think they're smart.
That's fair.
But Many Happy Returns, there's a lot in 7 minutes. It feels like a webisode, and it functions exactly like one too.
I do love how Cumberbund and oh my gosh, his name is Martin Freeman, right?
Yes.
Can act off of each other without even having to be in the same room. Like, it feels like they're still in the same room. For those of you that didn't watch for whatever reason, Sherlock left a better note for Watson. So the first half of the short is that one guy that always doubted him at the police precinct coming up with all these crazy theories about what he's doing and how he's
become like a big Sherlock conspiracy person now.
and then the other half of it is Sherlock kind of explaining how he feels about himself to Watson.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah. Another thing you were saying, like, man, if he was actually, like, dead, or we thought he was dead,
Yeah.
this would probably hit more, but we know he's alive.
Again, but again, we like, even if they just hadn't showed him, we know he's alive. We're watching a show called Sherlock, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
It's just, we don't know how that death is going to impact the show, but if he's there, it's clearly just going to go back to the way it always was.
Yeah. But that's all it really gives us. It's all these things are being solved around the world, and it's creating a path to London. So the guy's saying, like, he's coming back, and Lestrade is doubting it, and of course it ends with he says the many happy return. Then Watson says something, and like the doorbell rings or something, wasn't it? And that's like how it works. And it's like man, that'd be a really cool promotional thing if it didn't come out the same day. At the same time, I don't remember.
And to be honest with you,
happening.
a DVD. I've never had a DVD. You know how the DVD slipped and he winked at the camera to end it? I've never had a DVD slip off pause like that.
Yeah.
Never, not once. But
because he's winking at us, the audience.
Sometimes I think the show thinks that. No, not even sometimes. I know that the people that write this show just think they're too clever.
Yeah. Anyway, is there much else to say, or is it kind of a let's
get into it. Let's launch the empty hearse and see how Sherlock actually did it.
Yep.
Maybe. I don't remember. Let's
take another bite.
Welcome back to this, let's call it a king-size bite-size.
A king-size.
A king-size bite-size. Yes, a king-size. This episode, we watched Many Happy Returns, and now we're back from watching The Empty Hearse. And I gotta tell you, this is where I jumped off of Sherlock, and watching it again, I kind of understand why.
I still really like it.
You were laughing a lot during that, and I get that, and it's better than what I remember it. But like, when did this come out? 2012, 14. Think about me as what I was in 2014, and watching this in the way I would have watched it. I can understand where I would get kind of annoyed with kind of the joke of how he did it.
Yeah, which also, this is around the time you met your wife.
Yeah.
I just realized this is January of 2014, so I'm like, oh, that's like
right before I met my wife.
Yeah. So, my interpretation, now for spoilers, of course, my interpretation, and the joke is people keep coming up with, like, how did he fake his death? We get three of them, and at first I'm
4.
What's the fourth? There's the one.
There's the one that with the illusionist, the mentalist.
Yep, the one where he goes through the window.
The one with the puppet.
That's the.
I thought there was one in the middle there that wasn't like a full-fledged, like, this is how he did it, but it was someone like talking about how he might have done it.
No, I think it just goes to then when he's talking to the one guy.
Yeah.
But I like how they didn't really answer it, but then at the same time it's like, but then again, is that kind of them copping out of, like, they build up something to explain because it's a show about explaining, and then they don't tell us.
Well, I think that's kind of the joke, though,
I'm caught in the middle because it's like, I like that because anything they come up with is going to be really silly and stupid because we literally saw him die, quote unquote, but also it's kind of, it feels cheap. It's kind of like the end of Lost without saying specifics on Lost, where it's like, people aren't mad because they think it's this. People are mad because they didn't answer anything when they promised to answer it. Basically.
I don't know that this is where a lot of people jumped off, because I just felt like the show was just thinking it's so clever up its own butt. And I realized, watching it again now, I realized that it was kind of tongue-in-cheek in that manner. But I think not telling us does better by the character development.
Yeah. And the joke also is, like, he was going to explain it to Watson. Watson's like, I don't care. that running gag in that, so it's not like a running, the gag of they have to keep switching restaurants is so funny. And they're in the fancy restaurant and he tackles them because pretty mad, and then so they go to like a more like, because that's pretty upper middle class type, or like upper class, and then they go to like a pretty middle class establishment, and when he punches him or whatever, or he tackles him across the table, and they go to an even like smaller, lower middle class looking one. It's like they just get, because they keep doing that. And I think I was telling you, the emotions on Watson's face are brilliant. Martin Freeman's
accentuated
acting
by his mustache.
It's so good, because I think I was telling, like, you can see like he sees him and it's shock, and then there's like relief, but then there's like anger, but then there's a little bit of like a chuckle, and then it goes right into like seething rage. It's like all the because it is like you're trying to wrap your mind around like what. And I love the dynamic between those two, and the chemistry of the actors. It's so good.
We also found out that John has it's a fiance now, Mary. We've never actually met Mary before. I like her. She's a good.
I do too.
If you have a spectrum of Sherlock to John, she's right there in the middle, and I like that. I think
she's grounded like John, but she's a bit quietly eccentric like Sherlock.
I think it plays well for the trio in the show. It's a good, I don't want to say replacement for Miss Hudson, but it's kind of like,
or not Miss Hudson, maybe Molly. Molly.
Yeah, but I don't even know that Molly's going to be gone entirely.
We don't know, but the whole point is like she kind of served as that type of role, but now that Molly has a fiance who is basically looking
Sherlock.
like Sherlock.
Yeah, that was a funny joke.
Yeah, but and the 2-year time jump from the end of Series 2 to Series 3 as well.
That was a fun experience for us to try to figure out what they were talking about.
Because they said 2 years since becoming famous. So I interpreted, so it's been 2 years, and then you said, wasn't 18 months though? I go, that's right. So it's been like 6 months later, but then when they say, oh no, it's been you were gone for 2 years, and they say it a lot in the second half of the episode.
Yeah, I was interpreting it when they became famous, when they solved the Study in Pink. And what they were saying is, since he gained notoriety for defeating Moriarty. Or whatever it is.
Yeah. Now, this does bring up another, not a trope with necessarily within what media does, but something I've seen with like criticism of media. The thing that happens off screen sounds more interesting than what's happening on screen. Like the whole, like, he spent 2 years undercover, world thinking he's dead, solving all these little mysteries to take out Moriarty's like deep underground system of like took out his network. That is infinitely more interesting than this terrorist plot in this episode. That's not even the main focus of the episode. But it is setting, by the last scene, it's setting up the rest of, we're guessing at least this series, maybe has something to do with Series 4, But
I think whoever threw John into the fire, or under that fire, has more to do with the rest of the series than whoever set up the.
Oh yeah, it was but it was when he was talking about taking out. It's like how long it took and how hard it was. It's like that sounds actually really cool. I kind of like that.
It was also really funny when we briefly, if you didn't watch the episode, we briefly met Sherlock's parents. And they knew he wasn't dead.
They're the most like ordinary people.
I mean, they even said I didn't expect them to be so ordinary.
Because it's a cross I have to bear. They're so funny. I like how John doesn't, like, how many shows someone comes back and there is that scene of adjusting, but then it's like after that they're buddy or just attached at the hip again. Whereas this, it takes a bit. It develops this thing where like he's mad at him, he doesn't want anything to do with him, and then when it's kind of like they're kind of destined to work with each other because they're both talking to the other one when they're not there. Like when the fake Jack the Ripper thing, when Sherlock's just like show off. Shut up, John. He's just talking to him, so they're like, what?
And then he calls Molly John a couple of times.
Yeah, and it's okay. And remember, I think I said in the previous episode, like, what does John bring? Because since Sherlock, because in the source material or like adaptations that I've seen, it's John is the medical professional, being a doctor, and that like helps Sherlock. And then this, it's like Sherlock seems to know how to do everything, but he grounds him. And seeing that scene where he's like answering for John, who's not there, it's like, yeah, it's kind of like that missing piece that he needs to stay grounded, to stay focused, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
And Sherlock is like the excitement in John's life, because him just sitting there dealing with people's bodily issues is kind of boring to him. Because remember, he says in the first episode, it's the adrenaline and thrill of the battlefield that he said that he's kind of drawn to.
Mm-hmm.
So
he pulled on that dude's beard.
That poor guy.
Oh man.
And then of course he snaps up, I am so sorry. And I like Mary, I think it was Mary opens the door.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Mary
He doesn't even like enunciate the whole word. It's fine.
Yeah. I think one thing that like definitely changed, I think, between the two, they always seem to be trying different sort of like camera tricks and stuff to like convey how Sherlock is thinking. And one of the times we were talking about was when we were talking about Minecraft.
We've been calling him Minecraft. I don't remember if we mentioned that in the past weeks.
Yeah.
Mycroft. His brother.
He learned what was it? Serbian?
Yeah,
something like that in 2 hours.
It was more of, because Serbian is a Slavic language, and the language in Eastern Europe and like languages in the Balkans and the North, like Scandinavian languages too. I'm not a linguist. There's a lot of similarities. So since he knows parts of other similar languages and he just looks up certain differences, it did seem like he could do anything. I think it's more of he figured out how to carry a conversation. It is kind of they're smart enough. Well, I guess we buy it. But
yeah, all I'm saying is that their intelligence has just become a method to do whatever they want. And
a Walker Texas Ranger, he can just do anything that the plot needs him to do. Like,
yep.
Of course he can drive a race car.
It's just like them saying, and you can get into the discussion of, was it real what he was telling? I think Anderson is his name. Was it real what he was telling him at the end? But of course Mycroft knew that this was going to happen, and so he was feeding him false bits of information feeding Moriarty false bits of information about Sherlock. Of course they've been planning this for however long, and yada yada yada. Like, that's the part that broke me 10 years ago, I think. I was just like, of course, like it's all just a means to seem like I didn't get that this time as much, but
I like how the episode is structured as his return, adjusting to things, Watson coming back. Like, it's doing more story and character than the actual terrorist plot, which on one hand I like. On the other hand, it's kind of like, I don't know, a big scale thing like that would be really interesting to break down into a full episode after this. So it's a little bit underwhelming, but I like what we got, that it isn't just, it's just like, oh, let's go to the next mystery. It's structured different. And you get some nice human moments from Sherlock. The scene where, he notices that Molly she's engaged, right? Yeah, I saw a ring, so engaged. And he it's actually a tender moment. And I was telling you, I'm waiting for the rug to be pulled out for him to be, smart aleck about it.
Oh, no.
Or something, be his Sherlock self, but he doesn't. He's very sincere, and when he and it's like, okay, that's a nice little scene. And then, although this other one, the rug is pulled out, that moment where he's like apologizing to John, but after he switched off the thing, it is undercut by that, but it is a nice moment. And I do like how it isn't anything clever. It's literally a switch, and he's like, of course there's a switch. You know how many problems there'd be for them if they didn't have an off switch? And I go, okay, I buy that. It doesn't have to be anything super clever.
Yeah.
And I like how for a moment he was panicking. He didn't know what to do. And then that's why he was laughing, other than tricking John. He realized, of course, there's just an off switch. But I am excited to see the rest of Series 3. I think it's a good start. Not perfect. I think the other 2 series preceding it are stronger so far, at least for the opening episodes. But I'm still really enjoying it. And it's because of the 2 leads. That's what carries it. We'll see. We still got, 5 episodes left of the whole show? Something like that. 6 episodes?
6 episodes. It depends on if you count The Abominable Bride as an episode or a movie.
It's still... We're covering it in an episode by its own, so we have 6 more of these. But I'm enjoying it still.
Yeah, I agree. I am hesitant just because I know what the next episode is, and I know that being the point where I was like, nope, I'm not doing this anymore.
Did you finish?
No, that's why I never say. That's why I say that this is the episode where I stopped watching it, because I never finished the next episode.
And you tried the next episode,
yes,
and it was like, nope.
Yes, correct.
Gotcha. Well, all right. And do you have any?
Do you want to know something about the next episode?
No.
Okay.
We'll do that next.
All right.
I'm trying to think if I have any other empty hearse. Yeah, we said that. But any other empty hearse thoughts? But I don't. I think it. I don't know.
What?
Oh, there is one for me. But go ahead.
Was it that subway cars are just that? Cars?
Yeah. But it wasn't that. That was my point. But yeah, that was something that I didn't know. That they said, there's some. What is it? From when the Americans or American whatever set this up here. That's kind of it's supposed to stay, but people call them carriages.
Mm-hmm.
One thing is they say they take that Minecraft is taking his parents to see Les Mis, and my first thought, because it's the way it should be, is there's I can't remember what's London. I think it's West End, but the stage show Les Mis, the musical, and then when Mycroft's on the phone with him, you can hear. Do you hear the people sing? And I was like, but it's from the 2012 Tom Hooper movie, because they sing it slower than the stage version. Because I've seen the stage version, not Broadway, but I've seen a version on stage, and it's faster. So I was like, they're at the movie. I don't think it'd be out still, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was still somewhere. But then I realized I think this is probably because he said something about the interim or whatever, the intermission. Mm-hmm. So I think it's supposed to be the Broadway show, but instead they just used.
Probably it was easier to get the license to the
or
movie.
Something. I was like, that's the movie. Whatever. It's not important.
I'm
it was just
pretty sure that you're the only one that would notice that.
Now probably Les Mis fans will be like, what? That's from the movie.
They probably hate the movie, or they love the movie.
Either way. But yeah,
it did get nominated for a Best Picture, didn't it?
Yeah, let's move on.
Anyway, that's all I got. Where can they find us, Jer?
All right, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, the funny TikTok, and X,
formerly known as Twitter.
And you can listen to us on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and hey, if it's YouTube, subscribe, comment, ring our bell. Make sure you check us out on all those apps, rate and comment on those, and check out our groovy website.
And next Thursday, come back here and solve some more mysteries with us.
The Sign of 3 is the next episode.
But until then, let's
take a bite.